Okay, so good morning everyone again. And as part of today's session, what we'll do is we'll cover like the homework problem which we asked for yesterday, and then later on we'll move to another Python programs which will be like more of on mathematical as well as like textual uh, processing. So as far as I recollect yesterday, we wanted to write a program. Let me get it from my notes here. What the program was. So program was basically similar as we did yesterday. The only thing we had to do there was we have an input which is more of like a list like this. Like we have a list of characters as part of a list, and we want to get a frequency of every character from this list as part of the output. Now we did this similar kind of program for a word where we took like a consolidated word and we got the frequency out of it. Now this one is also going to be similar in nature. So before jumping into the program, what we'll do is we'll create the function structure which is defined. I can say frequency, and as part of input, I will take is list or like my list followed by a colon, and then this portion will just keep for the core logic, and input would be my list which I've mentioned over here. So this is my input list, and now I will call this frequency function by passing my input list. So this is how I will pass my input list. Now, how do I understand first like my list is being passed or not? We can just do a basic check like print my list. And if I run this, I should see the list over here. Now let me zoom a little bit. Yeah. So that way we are seeing like whatever the input we are passing is being carried over here. So now we can do is the actual processing. Now the actual processing was somewhat similar to the previous program which we did. So we want to create a dictionary, which will be an empty dictionary. So that dictionary's name can be out because this is our output required. So I'm naming that dictionary's name as out, and this is my initial empty dictionary. Now what I would do is for character in my list, if dictionary or if out of character, not out of character, if character is in output dictionary, if it is in output dictionary, or let's say the basic one, if it is not in my output dictionary, then what I should do is I should increment, or like by default, my value should be 1 because I'm getting that character, which is internal character for the first time. So since my character is not in my output dictionary, which is this one, I will set the default value of it as 1. And if it's for the second time, then this else condition will work. And in else condition, what it should be is output of character plus 1, which is nothing but output of character equal to output of character plus 1. So this is the extended version, but the shorter version is plus equal to. And once this whole processing happens, the output would be stored in this dictionary. So outside this for loop, we will do is print out. And now we will just try to see if it's working or not. So once I execute, I'm seeing the dictionary, which is A as 1, P as 2, L as 1, E as 1, and S as 1. So this is the expected output. Now I know like Manisha has sent like a program yesterday, or like someone between you, and the issue with your program was like two things. One was you didn't give this input list as part of the output, and then the function call which you did was not like, there were like a lot of spaces in your program. Like there were like couple of spaces like this in your program, like this much spaces, and because of which your program was not getting executed. So the
Okay, sir,
important
I
part
understood
was,
that now.
sorry.
Sir, I understood what was my mistake.
Okay, okay, got it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
just wanted to like reiterate like what the error was.
Okay.
So this is how the program will look like. So looking at the logic, it's
Hmm.
almost similar to our previous program's logic. Now the only difference was in using this for loop.
Yes.
That was the only one change we wanted to do. So I hope now this is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now what we can do is we can move to another program which will be like little bit easy for everyone to understand since this is the start now, which is like since we all know what is even number and what is odd number, what we'll do is we'll write a program to count odd numbers and even numbers present in my list. So what this program says is we have a list, and in that list we have is like bunch of numbers separated by commas, and what we need to do is we need to do a logic which will try to identify if that number is a even number or if that number is a odd number. So at the end of the program, what we should get is a number of count of numbers which are even in it and count of numbers which are like odd in it. So example is like, let's say my list is this, and in that I have like numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now look at this. We need to give an output which is like even equal to, what are my even numbers? 2, 4, 6, and 8. So which is 4, right? And then odd numbers would be 1, 3, 5, and 7. So this should be my output. So now since we all know what are even and odd numbers, and we just need to do is process this list, get the count of even as well as odd numbers as part of the output. So this is our goal for this. So we'll just go by our standard structure like define, which is like declaring the function, and we'll say is like function name, which is odd, even, count. And as part of input, now since this is my list, what I'll do is I'll pass on my list. And here the logic of processing will happen. Now the indentation is like I will declare my list first here, which will be my input list, and I will do is a function call. Now for function call also there would be no indentation, and we'll pass on this list. So this creates a structure. Now again for this program also, it is pretty straightforward. What we need to do is we need to use a for loop, and in that for loop we'll be going over each and every number, and once we get this first number we'll try to identify if it is odd or if it is even. Now how do we identify if that number is odd or if that number is even? So for that, what we'll use is the modulo operator, like the modulo operator which we learned about. This modulo operator will help us uh, give like what is the exactly number. Is it a even number or odd number? Now, how it will tell you is, let's say we have this first number like, or let's say a number is like 4, right? Sorry. Let's say we have a number is 4 and we do a modulo 2. So as per modulo, what it says is whenever we perform modulo operation on two numbers, it's ideally performing a division, and after the division is performed, we get is two parameters. One is quotient and one is remainder. So modulo is going to give us the remainder. So if we do 4 divided by 2, the remainder is 0. So if the remainder is 0, this indicates my number is even number. But if I have a number like 5 and if I do mod 2, if I divide 5 by 2, I get the remainder as 1, right? Because 2 twos are 4, quotient is 2, and remainder is 1. So here my remainder is 1. So this indicates it is an odd number. So now you take any number on this left hand side of modulo 2, you will get either the output as 0 or a 1, and you will not get any other output other than these two. So that will help us determine if that number is odd or if that number is even. And that is how we'll try to make a counter for even and odd. And whenever we get the remainder as 0, we will increment the even number count by 1. And if we get the remainder as 1, then we'll increment the odd number as 1. And by end of this list, we'll get the final count in these two variables and we'll output it. So first thing is we will do a for loop over the list so that we can pick each and every number out of it. So for number in my list, if I do is just print number, then you will know like my for loop is going through each and every number and getting that number out of it in this number variable. If I do a print, you'll see all the numbers of the list. So first number, second to 8, which is these numbers. So now every time we'll have a number. So now if number mod 2 equal to 0. So since if number mod 2 is 0, that means my remainder is 0. That means I need to increment this even count by 1. So even count plus equal to 1. Now here we are declaring this variable, so we can define this variable here by default count as 0 and then odd number as 0, so that we have both these variables and we'll increment it by 1. Now this if is number mod 2 equal to 0, this is even. But the other condition would be if number mod 2 equal to 1, then what I should do is odd number plus equal to 1. So this is how it should work, 0 or 1. Now look at this, we don't even need this condition because every time whenever we do a mod 2, it is going to be either 0 or 1. So rather than using this if condition here, we can give this else condition. So that else implicitly tells us like it's a odd number itself. So we'll increment the count. And once this for loop completes in this section, I will have the numbers present, my answer, final answer present in this even number and odd number. So finally, what I should do is print even number count equal to this even number. Same way, I'll do one more print, which will tell me odd number count equal to these odd numbers. Now I'll just remove these blank spaces. Now if I run it, I should see the output, but I think this P should be small and not capital. Anytime you see those red markers coming over your code, that means something is incorrect in your code. So if I run this, I'm seeing even number count as 4, odd number count as 4. Now let me reduce it just by 1 so that we have 7 numbers. So we'll get a different answer there, 4 and 3. So odd numbers are 4, which is 1, 3, 5, and 7, and even numbers are 3, which is 2, 4, and 6. So this is how we can write a function which will give us the output. So I think this is also easy for us to understand and quickly know like how odd and even numbers can be calculated. So let me copy in my notes here. And during the lecture, if you feel like you want like me to take some sort of like a different program which you have in mind, then tell me, we can do that also. Okay. So that completes our next program, which was regarding odd and even number count. Now we'll do one more program, which is utilizing a list. And what we'll do is we will have a list of numbers. Let's say I have a numbers or like my list or anything, my list, and it has numbers like 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. So if we look at this list, what we see is there are duplicates present in it, right? So now duplicate is 1 is duplicate and 2 is duplicate. So we want to write a program which will remove these duplicates out of your list, and your output should be with unique numbers like 1, 2, 3, and 4. So basically we want to write a program to remove duplicates from list. So this is my input and this should be my output. Okay. Then again, like as we do for every program, what we'll be doing is defining a function, and I'll give a name as like remove duplicates. And as part of my input, what I'll need is my list or like any like numbers colon. My logic comes here, then towards the extreme left, I will declare my list, which is 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 4. And then I will call my function and I'll pass my list over there. So that creates our structure for the program. Now, how do we remove the duplicates from my input list? So first thing, let's track if my list is coming inside in this function or not. So I'll just do a basic print to see my numbers list is coming here or not. So I'll run this and I should see that list. So that means it's coming here. Now, in order to remove the list, what we'll be doing is for, or before even like writing the program, I'll explain you what the logic I'll be doing is. I'm going to take a list, which is the output list, equal to empty as the like default list. And then later on, what I'll be doing is I'll take this first number, which is 1, and I'll try to check if my 1 is present in my output or not. If it is not present, then I will add it. So first time I get is number 1 and it is not present. So if it is not present, I will add. So if not present, then add to output. So output becomes 1. So this will happen in my first iteration, like when I take this first number. Now next time I will move to the second number. Now again I got 1. Now 1, if I get it 1, I'll try to check if my 1 is present in my output. 1 is actually present. If you see, the latest one is present, so 1 is present. So if it is present, then do nothing. We don't need to add this 1 to the output. We just move ahead, or go to next number. So that is how we try to eliminate one duplicate out of your input. So output contains only single one instead of two numbers. Same thing when we come at this number 2. When we get this 2, again we'll try to check if number 2 is present in my output. It is not present, so then I will add it to out. So once I say I add it to out, so what should be my output list? Output should be equal to, in that list it has already 1 present, and then I will add the new number, which is 2. So that becomes 1 and 2. And then again going forward, like again this second number comes, so since it's present we'll not add it, we'll go to the next number, and then 3 and 4 will be added in this output list. And that's how we'll get the final list for after 3 comma 4 processing final output as 1 2 3 and 4. So this is how the logic we will write to eliminate all the duplicates from your input list. So as per our logic, what we need is output list as an empty for the start. So what we'll do is output equal to empty list. Then what we said is we'll go through each and every number and try to process. So how do we go through each and every number? We can use this for loop for number in nums. So now nums is my this list name. So that is how it is coming. So this is it. So using this for loop, we are picking every number at a time, and then we'll try to check if my number is present in my output list. If number is in out, if it is out, then I need to do is nothing. But what we need to do is it should not be present. If number is not in out, that means if you check at this first condition, I got 1 and my out is empty. Now number 1 is not present. If number not in out, then sorry, then what I should do is out dot append 1, not 1 number. So now what is this exactly append thing, right? Now append is inbuilt function provided by Python only specifically for list. Like if you have any list and if you want to add any new element into it, you can use this append. Now append is nothing but add. And what it will do is out dot append number. So internally, how it will work in loop number 1 is out was initially empty, and after operation or like execution of this line, out will contain the number which is present in it. Now number contains 1. So what we'll have is 1. So that is how we can add a new number to your existing empty list. And then for next elements also, like next time if we get 2, then out dot append 2 will do is 1 comma 2, and that is how your list will keep growing for any new numbers you get. So that is the main core behind this logic, was to utilize this append function. There are many more functions related to this list which we'll cover like during the programs. So that is how, okay, our first thing is done. Like if my number is not in my output, I should do is add that number to the output. Else I need to do is nothing. So for doing nothing, I don't even need to write this if I don't need to write this else part. I can just keep is my if part, because for else, if that number is present, I don't need to add it or like remove it, right? Like it's just like pass to the next number. So else part, even though if we write this else part, we don't know like what to write inside here, right? Because there is no kind of operation we are performing if that number is present. So do nothing means like it's nothing. If we keep it as it is and execute, we will get an error like on this one. So we can just write is only if statement. And then using this for loop, it will keep on processing every number which we get, the next one, twos, threes, and four, and then final unique values will be present in this out. And finally, what I should do is outside of the for loop, I should do is print out. I don't need to keep all these blank spaces. And this one is not required. This one is not. Now, if I execute, I should see my output list, which contains all unique numbers. That means all duplicates are removed. So if you see, 1 and 2 duplicate has been removed and it has this all unique numbers present. So that is the core behind the logic, that we'll use a additional list, which will be empty list. And then we'll use the present or not present check, which is like number is not in or number is present in check. Now that present and not present is just relying on this keyword called as in. If number not in means not present, and if number in out means it is present. So that in keyword is going to let us know if it is present or absent. And based on that condition, basically this is the condition, right? We can perform the operation of appending or not doing anything. So that completes our program number, like the next program of removing duplicates from your list. So let me copy this and save it in our notes. Okay. Okay, so I've saved it and we can move to our next program. So for next program, let me think of one more program. So yeah, so as part of next program, what we'll do is a similar kind of mathematical program where let's say we have a list and it contains all numbers in it. And what we need to do is try to find out what is the minimum and what is the maximum element present in it. So basically write a program to find minimum and maximum element from list. So this program is also easy for us to understand like what is the end goal of the program. The end goal of the program is I have a list called as numbers and it has numbers present in it like 1, let's say 10, 20, 50, 100, and then let's say 5. We have like a list of all random numbers. Like my list contains all unsorted numbers, which shouldn't be problem for us. And we need to find is min and max element out of it. A min element means the minimum number, which is 5, and max means 100, which is the maximum number. So my min should be 5 and maximum should be 100. So this should be my output. So now I need to write a program for it. Now there are like various ways of getting min and max out of this list. One is using inbuilt functions which are provided by Python, and using that function we can directly get the output. And the other way is like we'll be using a for loop, like the similar way we are using for our previous programs, and using that for loop we'll come up with a logic, and that logic should let us know what is the min and what is the max of it. So first thing, we'll try to do it using the inbuilt function, and then next thing we'll try to do it using a logic of for loop, and then trying to create some variables and do that logic. Okay, so first thing would be like we need to come up with a structure min max of your numbers, and then your numbers input was this, and then min max numbers is your function call. So this created the structure, and then let's verify if you're getting the list over here or not by using this print. And if I run it, I am seeing the list as part of output. So it's coming over here. So as discussed, we'll use is something called as inbuilt function. So nums is my list name, and there is an inbuilt function called as max. And if that max is applied over your list, you'll get the maxed element out of it. So if I just do maximum equal to this, and minimum equal to min of numbers equal to this. Let's run it. Okay. So this max and this min function is going to do all the processing for us and give us the input as well as give us the output, whether it is min or max and what is the exactly number. And then finally we'll do is print maximum is this, and on next line we'll do is for minimum. For minimum it is this. So now if it's loading, so let's copy it. There might be something wrong there. There are some issues here. Let's reload. Okay, so we have it. So if I run it, I should see what is the min and max. So what I get is, okay, because the print statement is only one present. Now we'll do is the missing print, which is print minimum. And if I run now, I should see what is the max and min. So that is how it is giving us using the existing inbuilt function called as max and min, which is applied over your list. And how do you apply over your list was using that function. There is an open round bracket and close round bracket, and inside it you have to provide is the variable name for your list. That list contains is your numbers. So if you give some strings in it, then it will give you the min and max, but it would be based on the alphabetical order. So, but for ideal numbers, it gives us the expected format, like what is the max and what is the min. So max is like 100 and min is like 5. So this is one of the way of getting the min and max number out of it. Now, including min and max, we can get an average also. where there is one more inbuilt function called as average, which is called as AVG, or let's try it out to see if average is working here or not. Okay, so average is not working here because of this Python version, but that's fine. If you have min and max, we can always get the average out of it. That's not an issue. But yeah, this covers like the minimum and maximum of the numbers. Now what we'll do is, since there are like only 2 minutes
So,
remaining.
so average is also the inbuilt function,
Yeah,
like min and
mostly.
max,
Yeah,
or
correct.
AVG. Okay.
Yeah, correct. So that's what I was trying to do here, like check like what is that average of function, but
Mm-hmm.
looks like this Python version is not supporting, or maybe I need to check what is the exact function name for us. So since we have like 1 minute left,
Okay.
what we can do is
All right.
we'll drop this session and then we'll join on the new session link
Yeah.
and we'll continue from there.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All
Yeah.
right,
I'll
thank
send you
you.
the guys new link. Yeah. Yeah. Bye.
All right, thanks.